That's very funny.
Yeah.
And we're live.
There you go. Get your fucking phrase in.
And we're live.
Listeners,
Here
we
we
were
go.
just giving each other shit for at least a minute or so.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, you know.
Breaking balls.
Brothers like to break balls, you know. Well, you can't
turn
my
into
t-shirt.
a robot.
Oh, hopefully the internet holds up. It's
Let me drop the. I actually put the video receive resolution really high. I'm gonna put it back to audio or auto and not give a shit.
Okay, so it'll adjust.
Hopefully it's better. Yeah. Okay. I got an opening question. I'm saving that. We got a pre-show still. I got an opening question.
Right.
I just need to get an end of show question for sure.
Okay.
Well, that was a good one. God. You know, we started the last show with me
farting.
The poop talk at the beginning of the show. That was not. I meant to cut that out. I just don't edit anymore. I was like, I put a bunch of timestamps down, and I didn't write a timestamp down for poop talk. And my notepad's in the other room.
There's nothing wrong with a little poop talk, you know.
Natasha didn't like it, and she's my yardstick for what's passable.
I don't even remember what we said.
Somebody wrote me a little love letter in my starting off at Hobart. Oh, shit. I don't know what Hobart's about.
Yeah, it's a secret track.
Yeah, my boss ain't paying for this. I know that. I got a funny little stone spot. I got a good question that I put in before the end of show. It's in the media because it fits better in the media.
Okay.
Oh, this will go well. This will go after the last game. Okay.
Oh, you saw Unfrosted. Okay.
Yeah. Did you?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
It dropped yesterday or Tuesday?
Over the weekend.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Here's where we're going. Okay. Don't look at the very end of the sheet. What am I doing?
Okay. I'm up at the top. I'm on the secret track area, so you're good.
Okay. When we get down to the game, don't look at the link, if that's any help. Here, I'll put a space down there. Okay. All right, guys. You got to watch a little bit of housekeeping, but we're doing a show now. Let's get into the secret track.
Let's do it.
Let's see. I think I gave a note for myself. Let's see. Heads up. Oh, heads up to you. Jeff from the Patreon is sending a comic your way. He asked me where he should direct her regarding scheduling. And I promise I won't do this all the time, but I just feel overwhelmed sometimes. And
sure.
You don't have a job. So I figure you'll still reach out to me and talk to me about what days work. But I just
of course
show email because I still haven't invested in logging into the show email.
Spotify for podcast.
But she probably has. This was literally minutes before the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, did you get that update about the login and stuff? I think I added you.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I used to use an app called Anchor for our podcast hosting, and they got bought by Spotify a long time ago.
Right.
And it was just a matter of time until they just call it Spotify. Now it's Spotify.
Okay.
And then they waited like another year, and they're like, okay, you have to log in with your Spotify login. I'm like, I don't fucking guess I'll make a new login for the show because I don't know how to log in with Spotify. I don't use that shit.
I don't use that shit either.
Cross wires like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Jeff, do you know the chick that said she looks like Pornhub Sarah Sanders?
Yes.
Yeah. She's down to come on the show. So that'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
That'll be at a minimum, it'll be a good Patreon episode. I'm sure at some point one of us will be out of town and we'll want to do we can put it out for the general public, but
sure.
I like
have it in the can.
I like having stuff for the Patreon that's only for the Patreon. That's what everybody else for the Patreon does. I mean,
I do too.
I'm saying this to the Patreon audience. Like, you're already here. I'm not like, okay, never mind. I think that's all I got there. We had some bad weather last night. Everything's fine. It's sunny and like 80 now. But last night there was weird thunder. It was thunder. Have you ever heard thunder? There's that, crack and long and loud rolling thunder. I'm used to that. This was like upstairs neighbors moving furniture thunder. It was just weird.
Okay.
It was like, I'm like, what the hell is happening? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever experienced thunder like that before. No.
It was bad. I mean, in one day of rain yesterday, we had so much flooding in like North Nashville. I had to drive up to Clarksville, which is like an hour north from here. And it's kind of like the Fairfield for the Bay Area. Clarksville is. And so on my way up there, I drove over a couple of rivers and they were all overflowed and into like yards and stuff. It was crazy, dude. And then I drove, and then I went downtown and I drove over the Cumberland, and it was like, I've never seen it that high up. And it just made me realize that if we were like, I don't know, if we had like 4 or 5 days of rain like that, right?
Pretty bad.
Flooded bad. Yeah. Like,
you lost power for a while last night, right? Like, how long were you?
It wasn't as long as I mean, when you lose your power, it's I mean, it happens, but you kind of get a little anxious, like, how long is this going to last for? It wasn't that long. It wasn't that bad.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Let's see. I know I've got some new sounds in here. Let's just add these to the soundboard. Boom. I don't know if this file type works. I didn't save it as the right file type. Shoot. Looks like it does. Okay, let's see. There's this one from pre-show yesterday. This was before we even turned on the pre-show.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Can you hear this?
No.
Let's check on this. It's not good. Oh, it's on desktop mic. Why didn't you tell me I'm funny?
Oh, I was actually just thinking that maybe he sounds weird right now. I was chalking it up to my internet connection.
Mentally retarded.
You're kind of going in.
Most gay people are retarded.
You hear all that?
Okay, I hear all that. Yeah.
You vote for somebody else, that's a vote for Trump. Vote for Biden.
In your phone.
You hear the farts?
Yes.
This one's my favorite sound from last week's episode.
Black is better.
Whoa, Alan.
Oh, I know.
James actually.
I remember saying that.
Yes. Yeah. Within context of this, which I can't drink because I'm called tonight.
Right.
Just a sip. Just to clear the throat.
Right.
Just
for a little
bit. The last show, I think we did a really good show last show. I don't mind.
Hell yeah. It was a good show.
That way. James had a good, or as I affectionately refer to him subconsciously, I call him Jamie all the time. He's like, I love it when you call me Jamie. I'm like, why do I do that? He's like, I don't know. Jamie sent in a montage of all my, he got me pretty good here. This is not me talking. This was.
I don't hear that.
What are you doing, Alan?
I don't know. I could hear the other stuff. I don't hear that though.
You think it's me talking?
No, I can hear I heard what you said. I can't hear whatever the clip is.
Right now?
Oh, I hear it now.
Okay, it's been playing. Here, like, I'm gonna stop talking and watch. This is not me. That's me. Can you hear that?
No. What is happening? No, I can't hear that.
I don't know. It's you, dude.
I could hear the elements you were playing earlier, but I can't hear that.
This is fun.
Oh, God.
Can you look at your settings?
Sure. But I mean, I hear your voice fine, so I don't understand why. It's the right input, right output. Everything seems fine here.
Mexicans are alcoholics.
I could hear that. Yes.
You should be able to hear this.
No, nothing. Where is it playing from? From a browser, or do you just do you need to present it? Maybe
it's playing on a browser. So can you hear this?
No.
I had fun yelling at you. I forgot I have to present it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I'm a good apologizer. I've been told. Look, I'm embarrassed, but I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's pretty bad. Listeners, make note. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? The listeners got to hear the clip about the 13-year-old girl enough times. I don't really want to hear that part again.
Okay.
I feel like this isn't complete. Honestly, this is not the one. Let me go to my Google Photos because I know it's in there. You know what? We're not doing this live. That's fine. It's just not going to happen today.
Okay.
Didn't I play this? I thought I put this in there. This should be it. I don't want to fucking hear that again.
It's not presenting.
Oh, it's the montage. There it is. Okay, it's the montage. I got it, Alan.
Okay. Oh, and it's presenting. Okay, I see.
Girl, if a 13-year-old girl becomes pregnant after a rape, she shouldn't be allowed to have an abortion.
Hilarious.
And we should force them into marriage. And instead, I've sucked off donkeys all the time. I grew up on a farm. So there's this company. It's like an NGO out of Israel, something like that, right? They're like, it's a board controlled by Jews. And guess what? These people have offices in all of these cities. And guess what? These cities are in South America. That's right. The Jews are causing the border crisis. Girl, if a 13-year-old girl. I want to hear that part. I didn't want to hear it the first time.
That's fantastic.
Remember when I was talking about that Taco Bell commercial where the lady says guacamole? Guacamole?
Yes, I do.
All right, I found the commercial.
I think it made Taco Bell a little bit nervous, mostly because they're used to wrapping everything in a tortilla. But I say, guys, lose the tortilla and share these beautiful ingredients with the world. Amazing black beans, beautiful marinated chicken, chunks of avocado in your guacamole.
I talked over
You're gonna show
Listen,
people
beautiful.
amazing black beans, beautiful marinated chicken.
Marinated chicken. Nobody talks like this. Tortilla, marinated chicken, chunks of avocado and the guacamole. Listen.
Chunks of avocado in your guacamole. If you're gonna
that's what I'm talking about. Like, look, okay, she's clearly from another land. I'm not mad at her for it. I hate people that speak English the way me and you do, that switch into that for no fucking reason in a conversation with people that speak English the way me and you do. Like, if you're in another place, talk like them. I get it. But like, while we're in this place, oh God, I almost sounded like one of those people. I almost
I was like, I'm gonna let him do it. I'm gonna let him do it. I'm gonna let him sound like that guy.
You're America, speak fucking English.
Speak fucking American. No, she was definitely exaggerating her accent, though. That's seems pretty obvious.
Amazing black beans, beautiful marinated chicken, chunks of avocado in your guacamole.
I didn't rewind it for no fucking reason, Alan. Shut up. Are you done laughing? I want to have this isolated.
Done.
Beautiful marinated chicken, chunks of avocado in your guacamole. If you're gonna show people your change.
It's funny when I yell at you, right? Like that really brings out all the humor. Where are we at? 15:30. Get that guacamole sound.
Guacamole.
Chunks of avocado in the guacamole.
Avocado.
And okay, what's that? You want to do a little bit of stand-up? We get a lot of stand-up clips sent in. We don't have time to play all of them, and some of them just don't fit the regular show. So they're good for the secret track. And I hate leaving them on the table. Like, they make me laugh, and I don't play all of them. This is Ding Donger, Matt Bronger. That's like an old thing he did. It was Ding Donger with Matt Bronger, and it's always associated inside my head. Matt Bronger's hilarious comic. I love to see that he's getting more more time. I see him more and more. Goddamn
Yeah.
time. I mean, I was late to him like 10 years ago. So I mean, comedy's a terrible racket, right? Like
It's rough.
just rough.
Well, your
Yeah,
mother
okay,
likes it.
Here we go.
Anyone else here have like a bro doctor? Did you work with? Like he just squares up on you, like his scrubs are way too fitted, and he's way too ripped as a doctor, and just boxes you in like, "What's up, dude? You good? How you feeling, man? You all right? Glad you came in, man. Health's important, man. Don't look away. Look in my eyes, man. Care about you, dude. Like bros care so hard." You know, and he's like, "What's going on, man? Is everything okay down there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." He's like, "Let's get in there. Let's get in there right now." I'm like, "Should I put on a gown?" He's like, "No time." Like, no time. Gets down on one knee like a sniper, yanks down my pants, puts his face right there. Let me pause and say he is a dazzlingly handsome man. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my slice of pie, but you know it's delicious. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, straight, I'm not blind. Holy shit. Looks like a sunset. I'm like, oh, look at that thick head of hair. Rivulet curls, you know? It's definitely somebody's fantasy. It's not mine. Feels like a waist. You know what I'm saying? Anyone else?
Bro doctor.
Ronger's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
he
a
is.
great clip.
Josh sent this in. This is a woman saying her husband's an algorithm idiot.
The other day, you guys, my husband said to me, "I don't understand why you like Instagram so much. It's just a bunch of hot chicks with big tits." I was like, "That is your algorithm, you idiot." I showed him my phone, all dogs. All dogs. His jaw dropped. He got all red. He was so embarrassed. He was like, "Oh my God. You jerk off to dogs?"
I trained my algo on my Reels or my Explore page. It's all Vishlas. It's all every once in a while they suggest one and it's just a thirst trap and it'll get me. So it's like Vishlas and like one girl in a bikini. Like if you look at my Explore page, it's like, what's that one doing over there, Dustin? What'd you do?
I'm not going to comment on my Explore page. So.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. I think it's okay. I got a Matt Schultz, an Andrew Schultz clip from the roast of Tom Brady.
Lots of clips from that.
Yeah, and I think it'll be too late to play it next week. And you know, there was its own thing. We didn't highlight it this week. It's totally fine. Fucking Tom Brady, anyways. I don't care.
Yeah, seriously.
But the Schultz clip was pretty good, so we'll play that here. And it's not his whole bit in entirety, but a good chunk.
Well, Bill Belichick showed up late, but don't worry. I'm sure he has someone secretly recording this so we can watch the whole thing later. Okay? Bill is secretly filmed more guys playing for the other team than Diddy. That's your boy, Kev. Tom?
I heard a long time ago that Tom Brady looks like a fancy dog. And every time they cut away to him on the couch, he looks like a dog sitting on the couch. Like, you know, like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Said
I'm not supposed to be up here.
The reason he loves football is because it allows him to be his most true, authentic version of himself, hiding behind a mask, throwing things at black people. I'm kidding. He never threw to the black guys. Gronkowski, Edelman, Welker. That's not a receiving corps. That's a law firm. And with that divorce coming up, you're going to fucking need him. Oh, that's why Dana's here. So you can learn how to fuck a Brazilian out of half their purse.
Oh, my God.
Damn. He went pretty hard. Him and I think Nikki Glazer was probably the best two.
Nikki Glazer.
Yeah, she went pretty hard.
Doesn't she write a lot of other people's jokes on the roast? I know like so. Her and Tony Hinchcliffe, and there's a bunch of people that write most of the jokes you see on the none of those celebrities write good jokes.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's just
Belichick looked so like uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was smiling though. But he did. And he was like, "This is the biggest scandal you've dealt with." He's like,
I was surprised he didn't show up in a hoodie. You know, like he actually.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
Should have just, you know.
I thought it was Bob Kraft at first. He doesn't look like Bob Kraft. Plus, Kraft always has the white collar.
Yeah, and he usually has a pinstripe suit, I think.
Yeah. This says King of the Flat Earthers. This is Simon. Oh, Simon King. Simon King, friend of the show.
Hell yeah.
Friend of the program. Simon King talking about flat earthers.
All right.
Crowdfunding flat earthers to sail to the edge of the world. I am on board. I cannot wait. I would love the fact that they're going to spend a bunch of the money on parachutes. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be in a boat with a fucking parachute on. They'll be like, any minute now, and then they'll just get to somewhere. They'll get to Australia, which is kind of the end of the earth, really. Hey, welcome to the end of the fucking earth. Jesus, they're aliens. I don't understand flat earthers. Like, it was started as a joke. Like, flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, are we that afraid of science and the truth and the future that we're like, I don't understand things. I'm going to believe the earth is flat. Let me go microwave this thing. I have no idea how this box works. And then, like, how can we selectively choose science? That's what I don't understand. The earth is flat. Okay, cool, the earth is flat. Then there's a shit ton of fucking spacefront real estate for sale. How come no rich people are living in it?
It's a fair question.
Front real estate, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
Oh, because they put the ice wall up so you can't get there.
Right. That's how they get you.
All right. Well, we got some politics stuff. This won't wait till next week. This is stuff that probably comes up in the show, to be honest.
It does.
Here's is it okay if I play it?
Of course.
Okay. Here's Marjorie Taylor getting booed.
Mm-hmm.
I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is...
Isn't it funny that she says like all the formalities? Like she's been trained into the proper formalities to speak, right? But
yeah,
it's
I'm
like
surprised she even knows them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a dog that can talk, right? You're like,
sure.
Wow, like
you can put words in order.
Its own stunt. Yeah.
As follows: declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant. This is the uniparty for the American people watching.
Gentlelady will suspend.
I seek
I love. We make fun of that uniparty a lot. I mean, that's a Steve Bannonism.
Yeah,
you know, Bannon, because we call it a
monoparty,
right? And they call it a uniparty.
Yeah. By the way, there's no way she would know the formalities of how to say that. A staffer wrote that for her for sure.
You know, good point. Forgot about that. Like say this line and then do this. Like there's action lines and speak lines. This is Congressman Lawler. He referred to her as Moscow Marge in this. I'm glad to hear that catching on.
Moscow Marjorie has clearly gone off the deep end, maybe the result of a space laser. But this type of tantrum is absolutely unacceptable, and it does nothing to further the cause of the conservative movement.
I think we're good there. And we'll talk about that more in the big show. But
Moscow Marge, I like it.
Yeah, Moscow Marge, yeah. It's a little bit of color, though, going into the topics.
That's better than Three Toes.
It is better than Moscow Marge. I mean, I'd probably rather go by that than Marjorie Three Toes. Yeah, especially if I only had 3 toes, I wouldn't want.
Somebody should make up like a Marge from The Simpsons that kind of resembles her with some blue hair. That'd be cool. Could use it as a show cover.
Well, we just got to work Moscow Marge into the main show.
The main show, right?
Yeah. Yeah, last week I was so ready to make this his library, and I was like, well, I don't know what to fuck.
I know.
Yeah. I'm gonna play this because I think to an extent Matt Walsh makes a good point here. There is part of it that I don't like, though.
The Anti-Semitism Awareness Act that just passed the House mandates that when the Department of Education enforces federal anti-discrimination laws, it does so according to a definition of anti-Semitism provided by something called the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance.
So this is not something we've really covered on the show.
We did cover it. I couldn't remember that acronym though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We did, but we didn't spend a lot of time on it.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
And it's fine. I mean, I'm conflicted about it because I don't think we need, like, just for one, I don't think we need to pass laws for things that are already illegal. It's like we have actually figured out, just because people these days are either ignorant or willfully misinterpreting it, we've figured out the First Amendment pretty solidly. Like, you can complain when you don't like things, but don't lie and say that it's a First Amendment violation.
Right.
Anyway, So I don't think we need to go around making laws for anti-Semitism. And his point is in this video, when those are already, violent speech and other things that are covered by, hey, you can't do that. That violates the First Amendment. These are already First Amendment violations. We don't have to get this specific over things.
I also don't like that because of this legislation, we ended up like debating biblical topics on the House.
On the House, right?
That's pretty
Yeah,
weird to me.
yeah.
I saw a post today. It wasn't audio, so I didn't send it in, but it said something like, a House member should propose legislation that says that because the Bible says you're not supposed to charge interest on loans, that all interest should be illegal on loans. And then when the Republicans vote it down, then we can say, okay, well, do we agree not to bring biblical shit into legislation?
Wow, dude.
That was pretty brilliant.
That's something the Republicans would do. Like if the shoes were flipped, they'd be shoes were flipped. Common phrase. If the shoes were flipped. So the rest of his point though is about where the definition comes from of anti-Semitism. So like if you accept the fact that it's like, well, that is like hateful and wrong to do that. I don't hate the fact that they made this a law. If that's your stance, he gets into something that, well, here.
So the legislation is mandating a certain definition of unlawful anti-Semitism, but it has farmed that definition out to this other group. Insanely, the bill itself never gives a definition. It only says that the definition is whatever the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance says it is. The bill adds that the examples of anti-Semitism provided by the same group shall henceforth also be a part of the legal definition of anti-Semitism. But of course, the bill doesn't tell you what those examples are either. Now, when we talked about this yesterday, I didn't know what the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance was. All I knew, all that any of us really need to know, is that it is not a legislative body of the United States government. Whatever it is, it certainly is not an organization that should have any ability to dictate legislation or define the terms in our laws. But the truth is even worse than it first appears. The IHRA is not just some random activist group. It is, as the I for international suggests, an international and intergovernmental organization founded by the Prime Minister of Sweden in 1998. It's comprised of international partners, quote unquote.
First, Sweden brings us the food pyramid. Now this. You know, the food pyramid started in Sweden?
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, they wanted to make it a pie initially, but then they were like, well, we can't suggest people eat their health food based on a pie.
Pies, yeah.
Like the UN and the EU. And then also 35 member countries, including the United States, the UK.
So this is where I kind of get annoyed by this. So their big fear is like, which I understand. It's the whole, there was the argument against the League of Nations and it's the argument against the UN that like the United States has its own constitution and we should not be doing things based on what another country or government tells us to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I largely agree with that, what he just described wasn't somebody telling us what to do. It was something called an agreement amongst people who are willing to compromise and settle on something together, something he would know nothing about.
Sure.
It was like the United States is part of this group and they are making a decision with this group.
And we voluntarily joined the group.
Now, I think it would have been better for lawmakers to write down a definition, not find
I agree.
I agree. So like I can poke a hole in what he's saying, but I'm just nitpicking. I think that it's wrong. It's
also the Enya music underneath that.
Hated it.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. Former Trump lawyer, got 2 clips and we'll start the show. Former Trump lawyer calls out Judge Cannon. Do you have anything about Judge Cannon in the show?
I don't think so. There was a headline, but I think I killed it.
The documents case. I'm surprised you killed that. So the documents case is postponed indefinitely.
Indefinitely, yes.
Just and it's because there was, if I get the timeline right, initially there was a decision that led to this getting postponed indefinitely, and it was requested to be discussed in a hearing by Jack Smith. He requested the judge to set the hearing for September. Donald Trump's lawyers asked for it to be like June 17th, I want to say, of this year. So like a month and a half from now. So initially September of last year, Trump says June of this year, June 17th. and the judge said, okay, November 17th, something like that is what they settled on. November 17th approaches, and she postpones it. She postpones it to like February. She postpones it to March. She postpones it to this month, and now she's finally said that it's November 17th. I mean, sorry, God, June 17th. It's the exact date that this
initially
Trump's just conveniently, right? It's just a coincidence. The judge that has done everything to bend over backwards to support the person who literally hired her, right?
Right.
And I mean, it's just, that's so fucking transparent. I mean, that seems alone to be mandamusable.
It does. They've been talking about this over on Lawfare for a while now, and saying that she keeps delaying ruling on these various things that have come up, the SEPA stuff, just keeps pushing it off, and essentially, theoretically, she can just drag her feet on this forever. She can just never have this go to trial, or at least certainly hold it till after the election, which is obviously going to be the case.
It's definitely the case now. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And the Fulton County case it's getting appealed.
That's in the show.
Oh, that's in the show. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So I'll save it.
What's the
guy
clip,
used? Oh, thanks. I thought I was sharing it. I appreciate it. This guy used to be a lawyer for Trump. This is dude. This is Ty Cobb, not the baseball player, but the same.
Right.
Well,
the guy with the cool mustache,
with a Honus Wagner mustache.
Right.
Misunderstanding of the applicable law.
This guy is a huge stand for Donald Trump.
Huge stand, yes.
And he's criticizing Judge Cannon.
It's embarrassing. She's been struggling so dramatically in this case ever since the start, when she was she butchered the special master decision, and the 11th Circuit took her to task for it. This is a totally baffling position. First, she appears to believe that the Presidential Records Act is actually consequential in the case, which it is not. This is an Espionage Act case. This is not a Presidential Records Violation Act case. This is the theory that Trump has the ability to designate classified material as personal records is absurd on its face. There is no legal support for that, but she has put Jack Smith in a position of trying to draft jury instructions in advance that would posit that question to the jury. I think that it is such a fundamental error, and it is so so reflective of bias that it does provide a basis, not a dispositive basis, but it does provide a basis for seeking her recusal. I know that former Massachusetts District Court Judge Nancy Gerdner, who's very highly regarded by her colleagues and lawyers, had the same reaction that I had, and I saw some reporting today where she was suggesting that they seek to recuse her on this basis as well, pointing out that she's just ignoring a raft of equally absurd motions as well, persistently delaying this case. So, a month ago, she ordered the identities of witnesses to be disclosed, and Jack Smith pointed out to her that was just not allowable. She's
like, she shouldn't have to get fucking told that. It's gone long. I'm sorry, but I mean, this is the pre-show stuff. It's fine, but
sure.
I mean, this is just like incompetence. I mean, it shows she's a lifestyle columnist before she became a judge.
Yeah, she's completely unqualified to hold that position. And it's been more and more obvious. Also, she's been clearly partisan throughout this entire case. It's ridiculous. It's a shit show. But I mean, Jack Smith's in a sort of a tough spot here. Like, does he want to run the risk of pissing off the court and trying to get her off this case?
Yeah.
And then what if it doesn't happen? Then now he has an even more adversarial judge.
Right.
But essentially those jury instructions, if included as she's asked, would almost negate the case just at the very front of it. If that's what you're telling the jury.
And what is it again?
Essentially that the Presidential Records Act allowed Trump to mentally, telepathically unclassify all these documents, essentially, is the argument.
Yeah. And I mean, that's up to the defense to prove.
Right.
That's the case.
But she's going to say this is actually what the law says.
So outrageous.
It's completely outrageous.
What a
By the way,
joke!
that
Like, what a
it,
fucking joke, right?
you know
Like,
what?
everybody talks about like it's the system until they're underneath
Right,
the
right.
power of it and the thumb of it, and then you realize, oh, these cops can kind of do whatever they want, and the prosecutors, it's in their best interest to not, you know, protect my rights, right? Like nobody's bending
Sure.
over backward to protect me here. They're all
No.
on one team, and I'm fighting for myself and hiring lawyers, right? Like that's what it comes down to. And
Essentially.
okay, and then now this, you know, now it's
Right.
not you, but it's now half of us are teamed up. Oh, this is the system. It's like, well, I'm seeing someone clearly. Look, Trump's a master manipulator. Even if you like him, you can agree with that. He's manipulating the weaknesses in our system, and he's exploiting a cooperative judge that he got hired.
I mean, between that shit show and what's been happening with the Supreme Court of late, it's like, why would anybody have any confidence in our legal system? I mean, I don't. It's just, why would you? Makes no fucking sense.
You know, I don't hate that people like Trump. I hate that I assume people can be more rational. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't assume it, but it's so like I can't believe that. Like I understand liking Trump. I understand wanting to vote for a Republican. I understand identifying him as the most likely Republican. That's what independents and probably most Democrats think about when they look at Biden. Like,
Sure.
Okay. But January 6th, stealing the documents, the hush money, like, sure, it's all a scam. Okay. All right. It's an exaggeration. The man cheated on his wife and paid off, basically paid for hush money from in the presidency. Like,
From the Oval Office, he signed the checks.
like, if this was any of the guys that I've liked historically as politicians, these are deal breakers for me.
Yes.
You know, and I can't understand, because I get, you know, what they say is like, we need to save the country. It's like, why would you think that putting him in power is going to save the country? He's telling you that. Like, yeah, I hate the things that the Democrats are doing. I fucking hate a lot of the things the Democrats are doing. I don't think that
I agree
I'm
that
concerned about the lean towards like socialist policies and blah blah blah, things that haven't worked in other countries that will probably get, or modern monetary theory and issues with inflation. But I don't have any faith in the Republicans not doing that same thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about the irrationality, because I get, you know, rooting
That's all
for
it
your
comes
team.
down to, right? Like,
Right. I understand rooting for your team, but like, where do you draw the line? I mean, we crossed it miles ago. It feels like.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It's
now you know what? Very succinct. Where did you draw the line? We crossed it miles ago. Exactly. Yeah. Let me play this clip. This is a very frantic clip that I honestly don't think it's very coherent together, but all of them individually are somewhat good. Interesting tidbits from today in Trump's trials in New York.
Okay.
What?
Present.
Stop sharing. If I wait too long, it doesn't let me do it when I go to do it. What do you think that sounded like I was talking about?
Donald Trump arrived at his criminal trial looking off-kiltered, weak, a little bit lost. Stormy Daniels is on the stand. She's getting cross-examined by Donald Trump's lawyers, and it's going disastrous for Donald Trump right now. When Donald Trump arrived in court, he was reading a script.
The desperation of President Joe Biden and his fanatic left-wing enforcers that have become possible.
That's not down in his playpen. That's in the court. Wait, why do we have video of it? It must be in his playpen.
That's in the playpen. Yeah, it's got it.
To think about arresting and jailing.
He's saying that if any Jewish person votes for President Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves. How dare you?
If any Jewish person voted for Joe Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves.
You had sex with a porn star while your wife had just given birth to your first son. Brag about sexually assaulting. How despicable and disgusting are you? Stormy Daniels. Answer: no. Nobody would ever want to publicly say that. Nobody would ever want to publicly admit that they did that with Donald Trump. Donald Trump arrived at his criminal trial.
I guess I'm trying to stop it. I guess when on the cross-examination, she was asked if she had tried to tell people about it before, and she's like, no, I wouldn't want to, which does go against other things. Like, they had given testimony, or it's in her previous deposition, that she had talked to Gloria Allred, and Gloria Allred was like, "Look, I'm a great lawyer, but you're gonna have to say he raped you if you want me to represent you." And
then she wouldn't do that.
She wasn't willing to do that. Yeah, which says wonders about Gloria Allred, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it also says something about Stormy for sure.
Yeah. What?
But
or that she
no,
was
that she wasn't willing to lie
yeah,
about that.
yeah. But she does seem to have the pattern of someone shopping a story too, though.
Oh, she 100% did. 100% did. Did Trump get close to saying, "If you ain't vote for me, you ain't Jewish"? Was that almost?
Yeah, yeah. That's the second time he said it before.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he said it. I think we said it on the show. We're like, this is like Biden's "You Ain't Black." I
Right,
get you.
I
I'm
think we
not
did.
no telling you. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess. Well, that was it. So, all right, we're starting the show proper. Let me write down 42 minutes. All right, guys. Real time, real show time. Hope that was fun. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Sort of a well, I had mentioned I bought something fun from the gas station the other day. I don't think it has to be a secret. And yeah, it's one of the thoughts you have on maybe off that. Do you think that you have ever? Do you think that there's a time in your life where you've ever been the person that is the farthest away from the moon? The person on Earth that's furthest from the moon. So like every day,
I have an
moon's
answer
on the other side, right?
Yeah.
If you were at the highest elevation on Earth locally, there's
opposite side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I was thinking? I was like, no, because I've never been in a submarine. And
See, that's where this came from. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the furthest you can get from the moon, and they were talking about being in a submarine. I'm like, no, because even still, the moon's there, and there's the other
if
half
you're
of
on
the planet. there.
Everest, if you're on Everest and the moon's on the other side, like,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
I mean, you got every day to try this. Man, if I had like really bad OCD, that would drive me to just like find heights like all the time and just be like, okay, am I here yet? Like, am I with the moon? Where's the moon? Is it on the other side of the planet? All right.
I'm sure there's an app for that. No, I that's very funny. I've never thought of that before.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stoned thoughts, this guy did something hilarious to prank some cops. We'll play this and we'll start the show.
Okay.
At the beginning, by the end, they're going to describe it because the cop's going to like specifically list the things he's mad at him about. But just for clarification, so that it can be funny for you at the beginning, there's a guy sitting on the curb, and there's a cop going through his car, pulling out like a bong, and another cop talking to him while he's sitting on the curb. That's all the setup you need.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, it's 420, but I don't smoke any weed.
What is it you were smoking? There's nothing even in here, it's just water. What was all the smoke coming out of your car?
Oh, that was just for effect. That's a smoke machine.
What smoke machine?
Oh, just the one in the back seat.
So this is like a joke? Is that why you're dressed like that?
You don't like the fit?
So if you're not under the influence, are we going to have any other issues tonight?
I'd hope not.
Please don't sit in front of the police department and drink non-alcoholic beer. That's just silly.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Do you want to hit before I go?
Don't be silly.
Don't let me in this damn house.
Please just leave.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No, that's taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Boom.
To the Friday Headlines Roundup edition of None Taken. Every week, my good friend Alan wrangles up the headlines from all over the internet. We talk about you. Because I listen to 13 hours of podcasts a day. and Alan watches 3 hours of cable news. So you don't have to. We're your antidote to mainstream media. That's an old note. I'm reading what's on the page in front of me. I'm Joe Biden. But first, let's take the sledgehammer to the echo chamber, to the culture war echo chamber. It's not fucking Friday. Take me out.
So, another Friday is upon us. What'll you be doing, Smithers? Something gay, no doubt. What? What? You know, lighthearted, fancy-free. Mothers, lock up your daughters. Smithers is on the town.
Exactly, sir.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. My notes seem to have reverted to an older copy of the note. It says last updated December 2022. This is not. Those are not some words.
That is definitely not.
I do off the top of my head. If you want to be cool,
yes.
Well, first of all, you're cool. You're here. But if you want to be like, hey man, it's something to be really cool if you could do. If you could go over to nonetakenpod.com and which one I go with? Which one am I going to go with? Join the Patreon. Join the Patreon. 3 levels to sign up at. If you want to be a total dirtbag, it's only $3 a month. Come on, man. You know, you already have a Patreon. Just add us to the little thing. We'll show up in your feed. Here's what you get at any level. So I don't mean to low sell it. Look, you're probably like, you make good money and you want to show it off a little bit. So $9 a month or $7, something intermediate is $9. Okay. $9 a month. And then also at the $18 a month level, you get a culture war veteran t-shirt. With any of those levels though, you get the full video of the show, unedited, whether some people think that's a good thing. And I also clip down the audio, so you get the full unedited audio too. That one's usually a little bit more cleaned up just because I hate pauses and I don't. The only thing I hate more than pauses is editing video. So that goes up a lot. You get that. And then you also get our bonus interviews. So it's going to happen more and more too. Right now we have, so first off, if we have a guest, usually we'll record it a couple days earlier or a week earlier, and that'll live immediately in the Patreon, the video and audio and everything. And then, so for example, 2 weeks ago, we talked to Mike Burns. If you don't know who Mike Burns is, he ran this Instagram or this Twitter account at like the early days of Twitter that like, if you don't know about it, that's fine. There's all these niche areas of pop culture, but this was a huge fucking deal. It was called Dad Boner, and nobody knew who the character, who the guy was. And like the head writer at Deadspin went, which is like Barstool basically, right? Like imagine
it was, yeah.
With like did a bunch of investigative reporting and found out that it was Mike Burns, this comedian Mike Burns. So we had him on. We did an interview. We touched on that a little bit and a few other stuff. That video, it will be on our feed eventually. Like when we can't do an episode sometime, we'll probably post that. But forever, or first dibs, always in the Patreon. Yeah, and you get all that at any level you choose, because I don't know. I don't want to have to. I just don't want to manage 3 different things at tier levels and stuff. So you guys are cool with it. I love the way that you guys have joined in. Thank you sincerely to all of you who have shown us that you like what we're doing. You want to have some skin in the game with it. It really means the world to me. Thank you. I speak for Alan and say the same thing. I know it means the world to him too, because we do this for us, but it really helps to know that it's landing with people. And
absolutely.
You know this too, because you probably feel somewhat unique in your friends groups where it's like, why does everybody want to be cunts to each other politically? And we've like figured out, we've all sort of hacked the code on how to get along like this. Most of us have very different political beliefs, but we figured out how to like be in this area. So we all know that this isn't ever going to be a huge group, but we know that you guys are out there, and it really means huge thank you. Because we really see it when people commit to paying us every month to
absolutely
stuff on this. Okay,
you guys are the best. You guys are the best. We also do a secret track before every show now. We've been doing that for about a month or so, I want to say. We do another 30, 45 minutes or so.
We're at 50 minutes of this so far.
Nice. Of extra content before the episode starts. We play a lot of clips on there that don't get on the regular show. Some are a little spicy. So that's fun too. Also, go to nonetaken.pod.com to go to our merch store. We got your cunt mugs. We got your cool hoodies, your Allen's Edging Service hoodie, all that stuff over there.
It's got the pocket logo now, so it's not a big logo on the front.
Yeah.
Subtle.
Also, don't forget, support the people that support us. SlickItsDigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. SlickItsDigital.com.
Fucking nailed it.
Friday's here. The weekend's here. Have a can of beer. We made it to another weekend. Hope you're all having a good one out there. We got Mother's Day coming up. So don't forget to buy your mom flowers. It's this Sunday, I think, isn't it?
Fuck. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, we should get a floral sponsor. No.
I always go with mattresses and boners pills, but yeah, it was like 1-800-Flowers direct.
Yeah. Those edible arrangements.
Edible arrangements.
Edible arrangements.
Edible arrangements.
I am coming to you live from Washington, Morton, Washington.
I see Washington behind you.
Yeah, it's freaking gorgeous, man. It's like perfect up here right now.
Yeah.
I guess I made it up here when it wasn't raining, which is magical. So.
Right.
So anyway, shall we get into it?
We shall, as long as we are talking about nature. Can I play you a real clip of cicadas?
Oh yeah.
So we were walking the dogs right before we did the show, and here we go. This is real. This is not a joke. This is not going to be a John Cicada song.
Oh wow.
You hear Mithra in the background there.
Yeah, that's really cool. That sounds like you know how sometimes they do in those science fiction movies, they'll have like, if they're on some planet, they'll have like the background noise to make it sound eerie.
Oh,
It kind
yeah.
of sounded like that a little bit.
Yeah.
That clip you sent me last night with the rain and the cicadas was also really cool.
Dude, it was wild outside yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could,
Okay. Yeah, as promised, a show.
a show indeed. All right, so we'll start off here with some Middle East topics. Israeli military told about 100,000 Palestinians to evacuate part of the southern Gaza border city of Rafah ahead of a limited scope military operation.
The special military operation?
Rafah.
Special military operation. Yes. So a lot of stuff about this. Actually, let me just hit this next one too, because it's kind of tied.
Yeah,
The
these
US
are tied together.
The U.S. said it paused a shipment of 3,500 bombs to Israel last week to signal concern over a potential large-scale ground operation in Rafah.
Now, the word about this sort of leaked out slowly over time, and I don't
Right.
know if you were probably pretty suspicious on the first reportings, right? You're like, no
I
way, Joe
was.
Biden's actually putting his foot down. But it does appear that that's what's happening. Is this just a stunt?
Yeah.
You dug into it?
No, I think this is real. And actually, he
Israel.
had- I don't know if it was I don't know if it was a press conference or if what. I just caught the soundbite, but he said in public today that he would consider doing further things like this if Israel continued to do
Be a
things
bad
we
boy.
don't like. Yeah, to be a bad boy. So this isn't going to immediately impact anything there. However,
I'm glad you did the calculus. Sorry, go on.
it has caused quite a stir. A lot of people in Israel are speaking out saying this sucks, but we can do it either way.
Yeah,
I think
good. Let's prove that then. Put your fucking money where your
Seriously.
emotions are.
Yeah.
I get being mad about what happened on October 7th. I don't want more innocent people dying.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. So they're saying that, like I said, won't have an immediate impact. However, it could cause them to begin sort of limiting how many shells they use or switching different types of munitions.
Well,
also a lot of
Ukrainians died and Russians gained ground because they were shooting out smoke bombs. Like, I bet Israel could do a lot of work with smoke bombs in Gaza. Like,
part of the stuff that we're not going to send them now is also technology that converts so-called dumb weapons into smart weapons, more precision or surgical weapons. And that I find
I don't want them to be more precise.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad that was your point. It was my first thought.
Yeah, that's a little concerning. Like, no, maybe we don't want to use cluster bombs. Let's not do that. So, I mean, we'll see. It certainly is having an impact. I mean, it's all over,
Well, I like to see that Biden did the calculus and realized that, like, look, at the end of the day, in November, Bibi is going to come out and make some big statement supporting Trump anyways. So just fuck him. Like, if long term you want to make sure that America has kept its alliance with the only democracy in the region, I understand that. I hate the contortions that forces our policy into, but I get that. Foreign policy is never like it. It's full of contradictions. So I get that. But you should also realize that you don't need to keep bending over backwards. He's gonna stab you in the back eventually, anyways. So because it's in his best interest that Donald Trump's president. So like, he's not gonna like, look, the man isn't gonna do you any favors, and he's gonna just take and take and take from you. And
well, we've talked about the AIPAC lobby on here before. And so the fact that Biden,
it's a good thing we're not a more popular podcast, so we can say exactly what you're saying.
Biden has been such a steadfast, stalwart supporter of Israel throughout his political career and throughout his presidency. To see him take this step, I think, is a pretty significant thing.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't think that I should be making negative statements about Israel with a German eagle tattoo on my shoulder in the shot right now. Can you take a screenshot real quick? No,
I can.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't regret that tattoo, but sometimes I'm anxious with it.
I'm sure it starts lots of fun conversations.
It started a conversation with some guy from I don't know where at the beach one time in Cabo. And I was like, cool. He recognized it as the football team logo, which it is. It's not like a German eagle off of any flag. It's on here's my logic. The German soccer team, the last thing they want to be associated with logo wise is Nazi Germany. So I was like, but the German eagle's a thing. So it's like, that seems like a good version of it, sort of. Yeah. Sure. I got it done in someone's garage. So I mean, speaking of sports teams and stuff, it's me and Natasha's anniversary yesterday, and look at what she got me.
Oh, nice. Australian football.
It's
Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi. It's an Adelaide Crows journey. They call it a Guernsey, I think.
Not a jersey. Okay.
Yeah, it's different. But anyway.
That's cool.
It's so badass. I fucking love it. I never want to take it off.
I was wondering what it was.
Yeah. This time of year, it's just so fucking comfortable.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I thought it was a basketball jersey at first. And I was like, I don't recognize that logo.
No. If it was a basketball jersey, I'd wear a short sleeve shirt under it. I'm a white guy. Why do white guys do that? Like, white guys can't just wear a basketball jersey. They always have to wear a white shirt underneath it. All right.
I do the same thing, actually.
Yeah. And then you get in the pool like that or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just feel like people wearing shirts like that also wear them in the pool. Okay. Israel's cabinet voted to shut down local operations of the Qatari-owned news. I'm glad you have this. I've been happy. I've been looking forward to this hot take. Israel's cabinet voted to shut down local operations of the Qatari-owned news broadcaster Al Jazeera. They're only doing it for 45 days, but they are shutting down the local office operations of Al Jazeera inside Israel.
Right.
Saying that it posed a national security threat. And my initial thought, because they were proposing this maybe a month or so ago, and my initial thought was like, well, I mean, it's not America, so it's not the same constitutional law or anything, but I'm like, that doesn't sound very liberal. That sounds pretty illiberal to, shut down voices. But it's the state media from another country. You might think Al Jazeera does good reporting. I don't know. I think that
I do.
I think they do. Look, they do as good reporting as anybody else does with biases. Let's say that.
Sure,
right?
sure. Agreed.
But they are ran by this. They are state media for Qatar, and Qatar isn't exactly non-biased with their position towards Hamas. Let's say, right?
For sure.
If they were, they would probably have a problem with Hamas's political leadership living in Qatar, right?
One would think, yes.
All right. So good for them. I think that it would be. I think it's the right thing to do. I think that if you're operating a war, and and you don't want biased news reported from inside your country, you have the right to shut that down. They can still be reporters. They just don't have an operation within your country.
Yeah, I still don't like it, man. If
there was a private company from Qatar that was in there, it would be a totally different perspective. But it's the state media from.
I think that Al Jazeera,
RT was here.
Sure. I think Al Jazeera, generally speaking, has been relatively fair in its reporting over the years.
I mean, they don't do things that are any worse than MSNBC or CNN.
Sure, not at all. So they've been covering Gaza and the war 24/7 essentially since October 7th happened.
Which, God forbid, a Middle Eastern news outlet does, right? Like, yeah.
Right. Now, they are still operating within Gaza. They do still have operations there. Actually, some of them
probably a better place to be if you're trying to get some information on what's going on there than
some of their journalists have been killed and injured
Well,
in
and don't forget,
Gaza.
before this, Israeli IDF forces have shot their journalist.
Yep.
Shot that woman in the head on purpose.
Yes. Yep. And then even like the bureau chief for Al Jazeera in Israel was shot. His family, he lost some kids, and I think his wife was killed as well. So I mean, Al Jazeera has been in it, and they've they've certainly had some casualties because of their dedication to that journalism. I don't know if it's not authoritarian; it's authoritarian adjacent to suspend this sort of journalism. I don't like it. I take your point that
You're
it is
conducting a war. There's an organization that is state media that has questionable relationships with the opponent, your opponent in the war. I think that it's reasonable to expect them to do this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the war.
Yeah, I don't like any of it.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, your turn. Turkey. Gobble,
Turkey suspended all imports and exports with Israel, saying the policy will continue until uninterrupted and sufficient humanitarian aid flows into Gaza. And so they had been talking about doing this for a while, and now they've decided to go ahead and implement it. So they supply Israel with some various things, minerals, metals, other things
magnesium?
like that. Magnesium, aluminum.
Oh, really? I just named things.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Israel's a pretty small country. They don't have a lot of resources for some things like that, domestically. So they have to import that stuff. So I don't know if it'll make a dent in the bucket, but I'm okay with Turkey doing that.
Yeah, same reasons.
Erdogan sucks, but I mean, this isn't bad. Yeah.
Erdogan's the reason I don't like Turks.
Sure, we'll say that.
In 2023, Turkey was Israel's 5th biggest import partner, so not insignificant.
Makes sense geographically.
Mainly includes steel, construction materials, mechanical devices, oil and agriculture, food products. So, they'll get them from somewhere else. If Russia got around all those sanctions, Turkey can fuck off, right?
They won't get that good Turkish candy though.
Turkish gold, those Camel cigarettes.
Oh yeah, those are the good ones.
Foreign?
Yeah.
Canada arrested 3 Indian nationals. Ooh, update?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. I don't read these in advance, guys. Canada arrested 3 Indian nationals in connection with the 2023 murder of Sikh separatist leader. Investigations into potential leaks to the Indian government are ongoing. Interesting timing. They've got their elections going on in India, which take weeks to roll in because of their Indian.
Well, they have a huge population.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So we talked about this.
That's a separate subject. Sorry.
We talked about this on the show before. It was pretty shocking when Trudeau came out and said, "Hey, we think this was related to the Indian government, perhaps, or these were agents of the Indian government that assassinated this person." And we kind of didn't know what to make of that. The investigation has been ongoing since. These 3 individuals had been in Canada. I think they were in Edmonton, I believe is where they were. They had been there for 3 to 5 years. They're all relatively young. They're like 22, 23 years old. And they say that they were directly involved in this assassination, the plot, and actually carrying it out. So they're still investigating as far as what ties these individuals might have to the actual Indian government. So that's still to be seen. But this seems like some progress in the case.
Did you see the clip when they arrested these guys?
No.
How many was it?
3.
3, right? Okay, there's only 2 in this video.
Bloody fuck you, Gladys!
Oh.
Bloody fuck you, Gladys!
I missed that clip somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I was traveling, perhaps.
Yeah. It was on the news. It was all over the news.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Plastered all over CNN. Yeah. All right. EU member states agreed in principle to use interest from $225 billion in frozen Russian central bank assets to fund $3 billion in annual military aid for Ukraine. So 27 member states have signed off on this. It still there's a couple more hurdles.
Oh, they're using the interest.
Yes, the interest.
Okay, I actually feel pretty all right with.
I'm very okay with this.
Okay,
so there's a couple more.
Wait, are you get into the whole story?
Sure.
Maybe we Go ahead.
Okay. There's a couple more hurdles it has to clear before this actually happens. Belgium has been pretty staunch about not providing anything to Ukraine, but they seem to be okay signing off on this. So we'll see if it passes. But no, I'm totally fine with that interest going to aid Ukraine's
What if it
military
was
effort.
the principal? What if they took the money? So what is this money? Like, spend a little more time talking about what the money is.
This is oil money, essentially oil revenue that has been frozen.
Yeah, but they're
in-
individuals' money. It's not Russia's bank account. This
right.
is the
It's
money of Russian individuals, Russian private citizens.
oligarchs.
Yes, they had their
Yes.
assets frozen because of their relationship with the Russian government because
Right.
they aren't independent from the government, but they still are individuals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would be.
their assets were frozen, and we're talking about using the interest accrued off of those assets.
Correct.
Which
I would be. I think it would be ethically questionable to use the actual assets. I could probably be persuaded that it would be okay, but I would definitely feel less comfortable about it than I do this. In my opinion, this is perfectly reasonable. I think
I feel like this is a settlement. It still bothers me in the same way. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that we need to extend because it causes those individuals to dig in more. It forces them to be. It creates a blood oath if they didn't have one already, right? Like they literally have skin in the game now. So for their version, best way they get their money back is Russia wins now. I don't like the incentives it creates, but perhaps
I feel like if
on
you
balance, it's better. But when I focus on the negatives, I don't like those negatives.
I feel like if you're an oligarch in Russia who's been allowed to accumulate this much wealth under Putin's regime, you already have skin in the game,
Sure.
and you understand that Putin's
Yeah,
regime
I'm in
is
fantasy land to be saying that.
well, I just think it's a little bit naive to not to call you naive.
No,
but
it's
a little
okay.
bit- yeah,
I'm not.
a
It's
little
not
bit naive to think that because I understand that these guys, Putin's reign is existential for them, and they understand that.
You're totally
The-
right. And these are all the sleazebags that after the fall of the USSR, tricked
raped the
average-
country essentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
I know I'm exaggerating it, but this is the way I've heard it described. They gave out all these shares of the companies were all
Formerly government owned or state
formerly
owned.
government owned, became privatized, so they all had shares, and they just handed them out to the citizens, and the citizens haven't lived under that form of
Didn't
government.
understand really what was
Yeah,
happening.
so people would go around and be like, "Hey, that's just a piece of paper." Like you go up to your kid brother, and you're like, "I'll give you 2 dimes for that quarter."
Right.
That's
I don't
and that's
understand
how
the
you
economics.
2 nickels for the quarter. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyways,
Yeah.
and that's how a lot of these guys became the oligarchs that they are. Is they just stole, and that's oversimplifies, and that was 30 years ago, but still.
Well, and also essentially the deal that was made, whether officially or unofficially, obviously unofficially, was that Putin said, I'll allow you to accumulate all this wealth and sort of, centralize all that wealth with these people who are his friends or his acquaintances. In the exchange of that, you agree not to be involved in politics. So you get to make all the money you want, but you have no say in this government. And that's how Putin's run it for,
Like a
for decades.
1950s marriage. Why don't we go back to a classic American family life? And
They went to they're trad oligarchs.
There
That's
we
what
are. Write that down. All right, go on.
Actually, I think that's all I have to say
Yeah.
about that. I think it's your turn.
I swear I just said that. Oh yeah. I interrupted. That's what happened. The U.S. House.
Yes.
U.S. House rejected an effort by.
Oh wait, no, the one before.
I wanted to say it. I was so close to saying it.
You know what? Go ahead. Do it.
You
Do
get
it.
to
Do
say
it.
no. It's fine.
Okay.
Just remember, give her moniker. Okay.
Okay.
We got a nickname from MTG during the secret track. You guys will hear it here. Cheapskates. You'll hear it here. The U.S. formally accused Russia of using banned chemical weapons in Ukraine. Oh, that's how they got Saddam Hussein. He was using chemical weapons we gave him to kill Iranians with. Hey, listen here. You're supposed to kill Iranian human waves with this, not your own.
Can't use our
people.
chlorine gas. Come
on, man. I sound like Joe Biden there. The U.S. formally accused Russia of using banned chemical weapons in Ukraine, specifically a type of choking agent. Oh, no, getting all horny. To gain battlefield advantages. Not as horny.
So Russia is a signatory to the chemical weapons ban.
Oh, this is one of the ones they've signed.
They've signed it.
This isn't like the ICC, and we're like, okay, go ahead.
No,
We are not part of that.
they signed on. And this particular chemical weapon is from World War One, which makes me think it's
Is it phosgene?
No, it's chloroplast or something.
I think that I'm almost certain because it was his. He was a chemical chemist, physical chemist. I don't know. Oh, I'm
Sure.
blanking on the type of chemist. Remember that book I read recently? It was about the guy that was like America's chief science officer that is like not even mentioned in the Manhattan Project or the Oppenheimer
Oh,
movie.
yes, yeah.
I'll have to look up the guy's name, but yeah, I bet that guy made that. Conant,
O'Brien.
Conant, James Conant. Okay, go on. Sorry, dude. Wait.
Yeah, no.
Right. Battlefield of. Oh, I already said the headline. Okay. Well, this is not okay. I mean, this is something that we've said for 110 years now. We don't like.
Right. So this is practically Stone Age weapons here. I mean, the stuff that we use or was used in World War One is absolutely horrific and atrocious. So the fact that they would bring any of that back to the battlefield in modern times is
When
pretty
they have
horrific.
other options, I suppose, is the idea, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
And
is
so
this like
essentially,
they've outlawed all these new ones. We got this old one that people don't think of.
no, this type of so it's not just like the name of things that are outlawed; it's also the type. So that at all that they're using chemical agents at all.
This isn't like how weed's legal in Tennessee because it's not THC, it's THCA. Okay.
No, it's not like that.
So Russia's being bad. Well, somebody should do something about that. You can't get away with that.
They're using it to remove entrenched Ukrainian positions.
Yeah.
And
We're not trying to kill them, we're trying to get them to run away.
Yeah. So there's evidence brought forward that says that a number of Ukrainian soldiers have died from this, and others have been injured. Not only this particular gas, but also just the same gas that are like tear gas. They've been firing tear gas into some of these entrenched positions, and some soldiers have died from inhalation exposure of that as well. So, I mean, Russia obviously is denying it, and likely consequences are going to be minimal, but at least it's being called out on the world stage.
They're not supposed to use tear gas?
No.
No.
So chemical warfare generally is any type is banned. Under that.
That can't be. Cops use tear gas on crowds.
Right, but so this is more concentrated and in a more enclosed space.
Oh, like is that where they got the word concentration? No.
But when cops use it, it's much less concentrated, and it's typically in open air environment.
You know what?
So
didn't expect it. I learned something. I thought it was, smarty pants. All right, I'm looking forward to you saying this next headline.
Okay. The House rejected an effort by Moscow Marge, Marjorie Three Toes, to remove Speaker Mike Johnson, Big Mike, with a bipartisan 359-43 vote against the motion. For all you cool kids out there who are in the Patreon, you heard her get booed in the secret track earlier. She had been promising to do this, as we reported on the show previously, for
she gave
quite some
herself
time.
A week of news coverage by saying, "I'm going to do this."
Yeah, essentially, she was dragging her feet because she knew it wasn't going to go anywhere.
That's what it looks like. She got to talk.
She also got to be on the press.
Every time she says that, the cameras are pointing at her.
Sure, that too. Hakeem
She's
Jeffries
telling her constituents that have been fed misinformation from Moscow and telling her staffers these are the things we care about. So she goes up there and pulls stunts because she's not smart enough to realize she's being manipulated.
All of that's true. All of that is true. So House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries had come out some time ago and said, look, if she actually does this, we'll vote to not have him removed as Speaker.
10 Democrats still voted for her. No, 10 Republicans voted with her.
10 Republicans voted with her.
And 30 something Democrats did.
Right. Also, I think 9 or 10 Democrats just voted present.
Oh, that
vote
was
one way or the other. So pretty significant to get this Congress to agree on almost anything. Surprising that it's Big Mike that would bring some unity here, but he's shown that he's been willing to sort of compromise with Democrats on things that they care about, to get things passed like the Ukrainian aid, and other things like that. So I mean, I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, the thing is, though, that the way the House rules on the Republican side are currently constructed, this could happen again next month. But all it does is really distract from anything that's actually useful legislation that might be passed by Congress.
Right.
So it's annoying in that aspect. And as you said, she's just she's showboating for the cameras here. This was essentially a publicity stunt. There's no other way to say it, really.
Yeah. What do you make of her saying it's a uniparty when both parties think that what she's doing is stupid? Is that?
I mean, it's disingenuous. It's not true. I mean, it's obviously not a uniparty. They obviously have different interests and vote for different things.
Like when you do one thing to piss off everyone, you don't get to just say they're all in cahoots together. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, if nobody on the playground likes you, that's maybe about you.
You're all in a cabal together. It's like, well, where have we heard this before? A Georgia appeals court agreed to review the ruling that allowed District Attorney Fani Willis to stay on the president's Trump. Why is this worded like this? Georgia appeals court agreed to review the ruling that allowed District Attorney Fani Willis to stay on former President Trump's election interference case in the state, despite a relationship with the then special counsel prosecutor. What this means is a month or two ago, the judge in the case said he's not going to dismiss Fani Willis from the case, but he did say the proper thing to do is allow an appeal on this. I can be really biased like Judge Cannon and say you don't get to appeal something, but he's not acting like Judge Cannon. He's saying the right thing is to let them appeal this. So they did appeal it, and the appeals board in Georgia is a bunch of Republicans that are likely very sympathetic to Donald Trump. So we shall see.
It will be
it's
interesting
delaying this
to
case
see.
at a minimum for them to finish that. It's delaying this case until 2025. That's the takeaway is this case isn't happening until 2025 at least.
So post-election,
if at all.
If at all. So McAfee did rule that. He said she could stay on the case. She just had to get rid of Nathan Wade, which she did. I think she'd already even done it when he said that. But I mean, what sucks about this whole thing is that it distracts from all of the facts of the case, which is that Trump called and said, I just need X amount more votes than we have. And
then he clarifies, which is how many we have plus one.
Right. Among other things, they did things like going to an election office, Ty Cobb, all that stuff. So all of the facts of the case remain true. This is just a side thing. Now, Fani Willis, I will never forgive her for this lapse of judgment. I think it's absolute bullshit that a DA would engage in this behavior, especially knowing that you're walking into the lion's den in this case. Like, I don't know.
How could you think that would be a secret, or if exposed, not be exactly?
There's no fucking way. Like, you have to know better than that. I'm sorry.
And I understand conservatives that question her judgment because of that too.
Sure. I don't. But that's the thing. It doesn't change any of the things that happened.
No, but if you think that your guy's getting picked on, that will make you feel more.
I would absolutely be.
If you've told yourself that he's being singled out,
railroaded or whatever,
that would help you feel comfortable when you see reasons why he deserves it, right?
Absolutely. This is this is unforgivable.
And so what are we saying? We're saying that Donald Trump in his ongoing magnificence has continued to have he has the best luck with his opponents. Like, he just always has very easy opponents. He's
like
just
a cat with 9 lives.
He's just been so lucky. Like, all of his opponents have always been it's Hillary Clinton.
I mean, even in this, right? I mean, even in the New York case with Stormy, like,
Stormy.
We've seen, the difficulty with the witnesses they put on the stand with Stormy herself, her character being impeached. It does seem
the
like
prosecution didn't need to do that. Is what
they didn't need to do that.
Right.
Absolutely. So I mean, we'll see. To your point, it is likely that this appeals panel will be probably Trump leaning. However, I do think that there are a lot of conservative Republicans in Georgia who don't like what Trump did in Georgia,
Yeah,
even if they
again,
would have.
it's like I've voted for conservatives in my life. Like I would
Sure.
love to see a good one to pick right now. Like,
Yeah. No, but I'm saying a large.
unfortunately, I live in Tennessee, and Marsha Blackburn ain't it. You know.
Right. Yeah, but I think that there are, there's still enough conservatives out there that see through what's happening or what's
I hope
happened here. So we'll see. I'm
Because
not.
we need it. We need good
We do.
balance. Like,
And I mean, the thing is, this case is a state case. I think it's the only state case.
Yeah.
So this is the only one that Trump just couldn't, pardon himself from because it's not
instruct
federal.
his
Justice Department not to pursue.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He has no power here.
Yeah.
So and that was always the thing with this case. So that makes it even more frustrating that she engaged in this behavior.
Yep.
It's just yeah, I hate this story.
I just saw this next one. I'm so glad you included it. They dropped this shit on a fucking Friday.
Of course
like we wouldn't catch on, and then it's not in the news this week. I'm so glad you included this. Go
Absolutely.
on. Yeah.
The Justice Department indicted Representative Henry Cuellar, Democrat from Texas, and his wife on charges of accepting $600,000 in bribes from entities in Azerbaijan and Mexico.
Alan, it's always Democrat senators that are doing this and representatives. Just
there's
like
that guy in New York.
Yeah. It's only Democrat. Like, because that's what happens. Like these stories break and they're like, look, another Democrat. It's like, man, the whole show has been the former president. Like,
exactly. Cuellar pleaded not guilty and plans to seek re-election. I mean, the facts of the case as have been laid out in the press currently seem pretty like, no, they wrote checks and they're clearly, they used a shell corporation, which I think one of their children was on the board of. Sort of.
No way.
So yeah, they're
Hunter Biden.
So they're also being accused of money laundering because of that, because of using that shell corporation to receive this money. They were what they said they were doing was consulting work for the Azerbaijani government. There's no evidence that any sort of consulting work happened.
So you're a real piece of shit. Hold on, because like we're talking about the government led by that guy that pretends like he's a fucking general that created an amusement park based on all the brutalities and like literal horror scenes acted out. Like they have those in as amusement park rides and in Azerbaijan where they just killed Armenians. Like they have like heads and empty helmets and blown up things. Like it's wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So he picked Azerbaijan for his bribery.
Yeah.
Go
and he
fuck
gave
yourself.
pro-Azerbaijani speeches. He voted in for some.
How could you even make the words come out of your mouth?
Go fuck yourself. Yeah, pretty incredible.
No.
Yeah, it's so we'll see. He's like, no, nothing happened, nothing to see here. He claims that he ran everything by the whatever the congressional lawyers are. I don't remember what they're called right now.
Counsel.
Yeah, counsel.
Wow.
He's like, no, I ran it all past them. They said this is all kosher, so nothing to see here. Please move along. It seems pretty obvious that's not the case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
All right.
Yeah, good detail. 600K. Let's move into weird science. Scientists observed an orangutan treating a wound using a medicinal plant, marking the first documented case of such an activity or an action by a wild animal. This isn't the first one of these stories where we're like, hey, these things have never been observed before. Either we're on the cusp of like a huge breakthrough for this species, which still takes place over evolutionary timescales. So, you know, if they're 6,000 years old, then like 100 years, maybe, I don't know. But like, you know, it's going to take generations of this, or this happens and it doesn't happen
noticed
often, and it hasn't been documented. Yeah.
Right. So this was
Either way, if they were good at tools, they'd be, you know, having, you know, proxy wars. They'd already have proxy wars.
So this was an adult male who had achieved,
of course it was a man.
Yeah, whatever status. And so he was fighting with other males for dominance. He got an injury on his cheek.
Of course.
There's actually a picture you can see the injury, likely caused by, you know, brawling with other orangutans. The behavior that was observed was him actually taking leaves from this plant, which is known to have medicinal qualities, chewing the chewing the leaves, and then taking the mash out of his mouth and packing it into the wound.
Oh wow.
Which is like incredible.
Yeah.
And then they even saw him again. Some flies were like landing on the wound, which obviously could be bad, cause infections and things like that. He did it again. He chewed more of this plant and put
Cover
it
it.
on.
Keep the
covered
flies
it.
out.
Yeah, and within, I want to say like a week, the wound was healed, and it was a pretty nasty wound. It was right on his cheek. It was probably the size of, I don't know, bigger than a silver dollar for sure.
Whoa.
So pretty crazy to see this behavior. It's not known whether this was, learned maybe by watching humans do things. It's not been observed in the other orangutans in this area. So unclear if he's, came from somewhere else where he learned this.
Are you saying that there's either zookeepers packing up stuff on their cheeks like that, or you're saying people at
No,
the
this is
zoo watching him?
It's not in a zoo. This is in the
Wild
wild.
orangutan.
Wild orangutan. So yeah, this is pretty interesting stuff. So more, I
Are you
guess
suggesting there's people over there chewing on stuff and putting it in their cheeks, and he learned from watching that?
it's possible.
When
We
I
don't
say
know.
putting it in their cheeks, you think that's going to get isolated?
James, get on it.
Oh. Your turn.
Researchers identified the building blocks described as a phonetic alphabet of a language-like system of communication among sperm whales by analyzing their click patterns using statistical analysis. So I think we're going to see more and more of this stuff as AI continues.
Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is so bad.
They didn't use AI to kind of get here. So we think that we
Oh, I'm
found.
so scared. I had a thought about this, and I thought it was like, don't share that with people. They're going to think you're a stoner. Go on.
Okay. So we think we found essentially what would be like an alphabet or a proto-alphabet that these sperm whales are using to communicate with each other. And that means that they can communicate ideas with abstract language, which is insane. These whales specifically, this whale actually has, fun fact, you use this for your next Trivial Pursuit game. Sperm whales have the largest brain of anything on this planet.
Whoa.
That's
why they're that shaped with that big old sperm head.
I don't know about that, but yeah, they
They
have the
got the
largest
big old head, right?
I know, they do.
Classic.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, one would assume that there's some evolutionary reason for that to be developed in this animal. So this is really cool to me, man. I've loved whales since I was like a kid. So this seems pretty fucking.
And you're like, hell yeah, Michael Jackson.
No, I lived in Cambria on the in the Central Coast, and I remember like some scientists came to my grammar school, and we had like a little thing in the auditorium where they talked to us about whales. And ever since then, I've been hooked.
You guys have like the humpbacks went through there, right?
Yeah. In fact, I lived for a minute. I lived on the up on the mountains in Cayucas, and you could see the ocean, and you could see them as they were migrating past. You could see them blow. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I've loved whales for a long time. But yeah, so sperm whales, when they sleep vertically, and they usually have they sleep this way in the water. And there's usually a pod of like 10 to 12 of them. Although we do have evidence that they gather, and sometimes there's like thousands of them come together. We're not sure why. A lot of behavior we don't understand about sperm whales yet, but this is really fucking cool. I don't know. This excites me. This headline.
You're saying there's like big patches of sperm whales, like like globs of them, or like
you could describe it as such. Yes.
All right.
Sure.
They cluster together.
Globs of sperm whales. Yes. Yeah. So this is fun stuff, man. What were you going to say about what was the high thought?
So I mean, I had a smoked out thought, but now it seems to be worth sharing. If AI can interpret or find a way to communicate with other species, it's just an arms race. Like, what happens when China is like, hey, killer whales, can you stop attacking all these yachts? The real people that you should be going after, all these like submarines or like,
I see what you mean.
Yeah. What happens when they use communicating with, because like, why would any technology not be used in warfare?
Sure. Oh, that's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah. What happens when they make all the dogs hate us?
You could weaponize whales. Fuck.
This came from me thinking I don't want to have to listen to my dog talk, especially Mithra. I was like, I would love to be able to talk to Petra. I was like, I would hate to be able to talk to Mithra. Jesus. Fetch. I'm gonna go look at my ball. Fetch. Lick my balls. They're not there anymore. Okay. Yeah, that's terrifying. I'm glad it scared you too. Okay. Well, thanks for justifying that fear. Glad that it's now. FTX lawyers said that we're doing econ now. FTX lawyers said that the bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange recovered enough funds to repay customers in full plus interest. Though the plan does not account for the appreciation in value of crypto assets. So they're able to restore these people their money plus interest, but it wouldn't be the amount of money if they would have had the actual investment that they had initially that they lost.
Yeah, just to quantify that. So at the time, so they're kind of doing the Wayback Machine and saying, okay, we're going to pay you based on what the value of that was at X date. So just to quantify that, Bitcoin, if you had 1 Bitcoin on this exchange, at the time, the date that they set, it would be worth about $19,000. With the interest, it's about $21,000. However, the current value of Bitcoin is $60,000.
Yeah.
So essentially,
nobody's
1/3.
noticed that it went back up except for the Bitcoin nerds. Like
Right.
I was listening to a podcast today. They were talking about that the guy that did the commencement address at Ohio State that wrote it on ayahuasca, and he made everybody sing the Four Non Blonde song. I got so many people sent it to me. I'm like, I'm not playing this on the show. I appreciate it. Keep sending things in, but like, no. But he like had a crypto rant in the middle of it. And people were like, they booed, like the whole crowd they groaned when he said crypto, the audience. So I listened to podcasts talk about it. They're like, the kids are all right. We're going to be okay. I'm like, do you not know the crypto's at like 60,000 right now? Like Bitcoin is. And anyway, I feel like people are sleeping on it. Ever since the ETF, it went up a lot.
It went up a lot. So essentially, you're getting 1/3 of the value of your investment at this point. At this point, yeah. Lawyers for SBF are trying to use this in his appeal, saying, "Look, we made people whole." Unclear whether that will work or not. I don't think it should. I think he obviously did things that were clearly. I mean, there's no way they weren't fraudulent.
Frog.
Yeah, I mean, so. One of the good investments that he made was to invest in the AI company Anthropol. What is it?
I don't know.
Something like Anthro something. And so a lot of the reason that they're able to pay these people back was they sold off that asset for like $884 million or something like that. And so, I mean, if I was an investor in FTX or had, currency on that exchange, I guess, it's better than nothing, but it's still, you're getting 1/3 of the value if you had a Bitcoin, right? So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the reality is you got scammed, right?
Pretty much.
You should be happy you got your money back. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
The fantasy that he sold you, you got scammed.
Yeah.
That's why Americans are so open to scams, because we're like, oh, you'll be okay though, right? Like, no, man, like you got scammed. Don't vote for Donald Trump.
It's not FDIC insured. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see crypto.
That's not the part that I'm falling back on is FDIC, but I understand.
Yeah, I want to see crypto succeed. I think it's
having a form of payment that doesn't involve government in between the two parties. I think it's the natural state of things.
I think it's a cool technology.
It doesn't have to be the dominant one. It just has to be a competitive one.
Yeah, and I think that it can be useful in certain instances. I hate that things like this have happened within that environment.
Is it like buying teenagers and moving them across state lines, or is that just for that case?
It's just you can only do that if you're in Congress.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate that stories like this sort of give crypto a black eye.
Black guy.
Black eye. Black eye.
Black is bad.
But but here we are. So I mean, that's
congratulations, Alan. You did get through that sentence.
I did get through. I was like, where do I go here? So in other news, we have a few stories in here. RFK campaign cheating to get on the ballot in NY. So so RFK's
wait, is this related to that thing I was saying about how he has that weird convention in Michigan?
No.
This is like flat out cheating.
So as you mentioned on the show, on the Wednesday show, RFK has not been successful in getting on the ballot in every state. He's still working on it. And so in New York, he's still trying to collect enough signatures to get on the ballot. He has to collect 45,000 to get on the ballot, but most campaigns try to collect far more than that because there's a potential that some of those signatures will be kicked out because of whatever reason they didn't pass the smell test.
Yeah.
So what has happened here is that the campaign has hired a bunch of people to go out and try to get people to sign this petition. And they were caught like folding over the top of the paper where it showed his name when they were asking people to sign it and telling people, we just want to make sure that Democrats can get on the ballot. And what happened was they ran into...
They're like, that feels ethical enough. I don't feel like I'm lying.
They ran into a judge. And they ran into a number of New York Times reporters on the street just haphazardly, where they went and tried to get them to sign it. In the case of the judge is actually quoted in this article. The judge said, they asked me to sign it. I noticed the paper was folded over, and the judge said, who is this for? And the person immediately grabbed the clipboard back. Oh, she informed them that she was a judge. And the person immediately grabbed the clipboard back and said, am I in trouble? And so obviously this got reported up. And so the campaign is saying, look, we hired private contractors. We didn't tell them to do that. That's not what we told them to do.
Sure.
But there's multiple instances.
Sure. Plausible. Fine.
Yeah, of course. There's multiple instances of it happening, as I said, a journalist and a judge. So pretty
yeah,
wild
but we
stuff,
both
man.
worked
Pretty
at
wild
companies that said you can't fudge your numbers, but we would talk to our coworkers and figure out how to make sure we had good sales.
Sure.
Not the
I mean, it
sales, but the sales reporting, right? Where they were like,
Yeah.
look, you can't just be really good at selling printers. Turns out you have to sell a ream of paper with it. Like, get the fuck out of here. And I won't get a bonus if we don't do that a certain number of times. Yeah, I'm going to finesse that. Sorry. I'm going to go back to making you a shitload of money selling printers.
If you ever bought a printer at Staples and they tried to sell you a
Cable?
$35 cable that was 12 feet long and gold plated ends, that's why. Not because you needed the printer to be 12 feet away or
cable link, paper,
or because
service plan.
Why
is that still in my head?
Because
Same
the gold
reason
plating
Read
really
and Need is in my head. Remember Read and Need?
Right. I do remember that. Do you remember the Bed Bath one? It was Got a Pen.
Got a Pen. Yeah, of course I remember Got a Pen. Greet, offer a cart, thank, pass the buck,
invite back. Yeah.
Oh, what's E?
Engage.
Never say no.
I don't.
E. Yeah. Always wear your name tag. Why?
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. One more RFK headline. Turns out he had a worm in his brain and it died, which is pretty funny. And the reason
This is slanderous. This is coming out now. This is slanderous. These are hit pieces. This is a hit piece.
Part of the reason we know about this is because it was mentioned in his divorce papers.
Oh, never mind.
That he.
I saw people saying that online. They're like, this is a hit piece. These media outlets are being like, they're going after the guy because they love Biden. It's like, it's literally public knowledge from his
divorce papers. Yes.
Yeah. And he said, I was cognitively impaired from it.
Right. Because he was trying to say, I can't make as much money as I used to. So don't take as much money from me. So pretty funny stuff. I don't really have more to say about that.
Oh, I do. It's hereditary.
Okay, go.
Did you know it's hereditary? They found 22 slugs in his dad's brain.
Okay. I did not see that coming. That was great. That was good. I'm giving you props.
I got corrected. I was saying 38
nice.
slugs just because I figured, most assassinations are 38. And then
Right.
Paul, of all people, corrected me. Gun Truck Paul corrected me. It was a 22 that was used, and that actually, pardon my
blew your mind.
Yeah. I didn't mean it to be that way.
I saw that coming.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I got right up to the beginning. I was like, oh, don't jump in. Yeah, that blew my mind. Like, could you imagine thinking you're going to go kill someone with a 22? Like,
yeah.
I can't wait to murder you. Like, I'm just going to get a sub 9mm round. Like,
the Zapruder film does not make it appear to be a 22. I didn't know that. That's wild.
No, not his dad.
Oh, right. The other one.
Yeah,
right,
the
right,
kitchen.
That's right. JFK.
I
get it.
Killed in that kitchen by a 22.
Yeah, 22 though. I mean, I figure you could take a couple 22s to the face.
I mean, if you shoot someone enough, I would imagine it would kill you. But don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think I'm Superman. But like, if I'm trying to defend my life or if I'm trying to kill someone, I'm going to get a larger size round than that. Like, yeah,
Right.
I have a
Right.
22 just for fun. Like, it's really not people. It's fun to shoot. Like, if you want to shoot a gun, and
It is
it's
fun.
less expensive.
We have
Usually
one
higher
downstairs right here
magazines.
where I
Yeah.
am.
Yep.
Yeah, and the ammo's relatively inexpensive, and yeah, it's fun for target practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Is it a
times.
rifle with the 10 round magazine up through the front there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
I love
Yep.
those. Oh, we have one of
Those
those
are
at the
fun,
cabin.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's
They're good
a
times.
cap gun. Like, it feels like you're shooting a cap
Basically.
gun. You put a
Yeah.
suppressor on that and you're like, you hear the pin more than anything else. It's
Tink.
insane. Yeah.
Tink.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
My son was shooting that thing when he was like 6 years old. That's
Hell yeah.
you know.
That's the
Yeah.
perfect one to start with.
Absolutely. All right, well, I'm going to do one more in other news. I don't know if anybody saw this, but Apple released a new iPad over the weekend, and they had an ad which did not go over very well. And Apple typically doesn't apologize for shit they do. However, this one, they're like, yeah, we fucked up here. So the ad, if people haven't seen it, is essentially like a bunch of things like a piano, musical instruments being crushed by like this vice. And essentially
Like
what
a press, like a
like a
hydraulic
press, like the
Okay.
thing they used to, like what they used to crush cars in or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so Apple was trying to say, look, you don't need all this stuff. The iPad can do this all for you, and you can be creative and use the iPad. Obviously, people in the creative community did not take well to that, especially with creatives being concerned about AI taking their
They
jobs.
probably used AI to make the video.
They probably did.
I thought you were going to bring up the other ad that they did. Did you see the one? Did Thrash send this to you?
No.
Thrash sent me a thing where it was a side-by-side shot that they used in one of their photos or videos in a commercial or an ad. And they didn't like that the picture of, I think it's Oakland, it's somewhere off like the 101, has like houses and backyards and then the freeway in it. So they AI'd out the freeway and put in more houses. And it was just like, you didn't have to go take another picture. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, that is so
Get a different
gross.
angle.
Well, that's fucking
Yeah,
like, they're like, that's really gross. Like, why would you even take the effort to do that when there's other stock photos you can make? Like,
yeah,
we
that's
have
pretty
all our
gross.
pictures. They're in the clouds. I'm sure we agreed to it somehow. They could be used in your commercials.
Anyways, it was a rare instance of Apple being like, oh, fuck, we fucked up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And Apple is sort of the technology of the creative type, right? I mean,
In their
people,
personal stuff, sure, but not
yeah,
in their
like video
studios.
editing, audio,
Yeah.
like people who, musicians, that tends to be the brand that people use to do that sort of thing.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Everybody I know, like photographers who are, really into photography, every musician I know, they all use Apple.
Yeah, I
devices.
think I agree. And then if you have like a professional, like when I say a studio, I mean like Sony isn't using, Apple Movie Creator. I mean,
Sure.
there might be instances of it, but I mean, I think that at a certain level, professionals of this use a different caliber tool. But that's what's great about Apple is they democratized those
Right.
tools for the people we know that are professional photographers.
Right.
Yeah, fair.
All right.
Fair enough, Mark. That's it's none taken.
Absolutely.
Are we in media diet?
We are in media diet.
You watched Monkey Man?
I did.
How did you like it?
I
Wait,
loved
tell
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's your turn.
All right. So Monkey Man is set in, well, it doesn't specify. It's got to be India, right? And essentially it is a tale of revenge, best served cold. It reminded me somewhat of like, I don't know if you ever watched like the old Ong Bak movies back in the day. He was a martial artist from
Oh, I thought
Thailand.
that's that sandwich, that Cuban sandwich
Oh
in
no,
Vietnam.
Ong Bak was the actor's name. He was in a number of movies. There was one where he was somebody came to his village and like killed his elephants, and so he just went on a fucking rampage.
Hell yeah.
It's good stuff. Anyway, so Monkey Man, as the story develops, you kind of learn more and more about the reasons this individual is engaging in this behavior. It takes a while to understand what happened and why. It is John Wick on fucking
Thought so.
acid and steroids. It is,
And like mixed with somewhat Bollywoodish tropes, but not
Yeah.
completely,
Yeah.
not heavily, right? Like
not heavily.
are there dance scenes?
No.
Okay, good.
No, not at all. And I wouldn't call any of that dancing.
Okay.
It is
Oh,
man.
Alan, hot take: Indians don't dance.
It is a thing to watch, man. It is a thing to behold. I would
Yeah,
say
it's a
be prepared.
spectacle.
Yeah, be prepared for a lot of violence.
Yeah.
So if that's not your thing, don't watch this. If you like John Wick style movies, you're gonna enjoy the fuck out of it.
Isn't it Jordan Peele?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure so I thought I was looking forward to the most because it's Jordan Peele doing something, again, sort of branching into a slightly different genre, as
Genre.
Alex Trebek and King James.
Dev Patel is the director. I don't know if Jordan Peele was involved in it or not.
Okay, I think it was like a collaborative in some way. So Dev Patel directed it. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, it's really good. If you're into that genre, as you said, of movie, definitely check it out. It's 100%.
I've been looking forward to it. Well, you give it a number like 3+?
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Out of 5?
If we're out of 5, I'd say it's a 4+.
Whoa, really? Okay.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
it's
My
really,
friend
really
saw it
good.
in theaters and he didn't give it a bad review, but he was kind of like, I didn't need to like go to an IMAX viewing of this. I mean, I would imagine from what you're saying, it would have been great in that.
I would think so. I didn't see it in IMAX, obviously, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great ride.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll check it out. I was looking forward to it anyways. That's good because I got a somewhat bad review. Can I do all of these movies I watched?
Of course.
Okay. I broke down. I was in a capacitated state over the weekend, as I've referred to subtly in the last 2 episodes. And
Yes.
Natasha took advantage of that and forced me to watch the romantic comedy starring Goose's son from Top Gun and Tits McGee of the moment, Hollywood's Hollywood's newest. What was that chick? Who's that? Who's that girl that was in Hunger Games?
Oh,
Yeah, she's like another one of those. Sydney Sweeney.
Okay, yeah.
So Sydney Sweeney, Tits McGee, like every shot, you're just like, Jesus Christ. Even Natasha was like, come on. Like
Stop
it is
with the cleavage already.
Well, I'm not saying stop with it, but it's just like it is gratuitous.
It's gratuitous. Okay, got it.
I mean, not complaining, but
Wait, what's the movie called? I don't think you said that.
You're like, hold on, let me write this down. It's called Anyone But You. It's on Netflix. You already pay for Netflix if you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check it out.
If you're into, I don't know.
I don't even need more of a review than that. I mean,
It's so I never really liked romantic comedies, and they only got worse, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like the peak for romantic comedies, in terms of like good ones, is probably like early '90s. But by the time the 2000s got around, they were like super formulaic, and that's kind of when I developed my repulsion for them.
They were all cookie cutter.
And then like I like hated them.
Yeah.
And then a long time went by, and like anything, you sort of get nostalgic for that time in the 90s when they had fun romantic comedies that you hated.
Right.
And
right.
this is one of those in a way that, you know what? It's good. Here's why it's good. I'm not ruining shit. If you don't figure this out, you're just not paying attention. There's all these scenes with poetry in the background that, given the English people in the movie, if you got any sense, you're thinking, what Shakespeare play are they doing? And you go through the common ones. I'm like, it's not Taming of the Shrew. That's 10 Things I Hate About You. You're like, well, and they wouldn't redo, 10 Things I Hate About You. Or maybe that's She's All That. Maybe that's both. Anyway, it turns out it's Much Ado About Nothing. So it's a retelling of Much Ado About Nothing, and it's good. It's good
Okay.
for what those are. And it's certainly good if you just ate a bunch of gas station mushrooms. It's legal. They're legal. It's fine.
That time period you're talking about, like in the 90s, 2000s, was when every rom-com had like Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant in it.
Yep. Or Jennifer Lopez or
Yes.
Matthew McConaughey. Oh, and Goldie Hawn's daughter. Why can't I not remember names, but only things that refer to names? Let me play you a scene. Oh, so they go to Australia for the wedding. There's a wedding. They go to Australia. So a lot of this movie is filmed in some beautiful areas outside of Sydney. And I had this queued up and ready, but Netflix hates me. Let me play you. There's a scene where it doesn't matter. One of the male romantic, Goose's son from Top Gun 2, he is still in love with a girl that happens to be in Australia when he gets there, except she's dating this like dumb bro surfer dude. And
Of course she is.
yeah. And so Goose's son in Top Gun, he has a name. I just forget it right now. He Howell, something Howell, Glenn Howell. I don't know.
Sure. I don't.
He's always shirtless in this movie. So he's shirtless going to take a shower from before for whatever, like an outdoor shower, like next to the pool. And the guy, the surfer bro, just finished surfing, and he comes in and this
Okay.
drops trowel. Now we got full butt cheeks here.
Australia. What do you reckon, eh? How you finding it? No, it's great. Maz goes on about you all the time. A ripper cunt, she calls you.
A ripping
Maz
cunt.
is Margaret, and Ripper Cunt is good friend.
Ripper cunt.
Oh, yeah. You know you had a proper surf when sand gets all up your clacker.
So we get a few Australian words. So clacker.
I like it.
Clack,
Okay.
clacker.
Yeah, and your gobbler too.
Gobbler.
Gobbler is
Goblin.
You know, your hog bonnet. You know, your beef cap. Come on, mate. You know, the anteater.
Yeah, you see a dick at that point.
Anyway, good to have you.
Hog bonnet. Hog bonnet might be a show title.
Sorry, no, it's not gonna. We're not calling the show Hog Bonnet.
That's good. We don't want to lose listeners.
Wonder what the AI comes up with when I type that in. That could be the workaround. Use Australian slang, right?
Yeah, there you
But
go.
they're not on the internet. No, not the AI. I watched
What else did you watch?
Unfrosted. I watched Unfrosted, the Jerry Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie.
How was it?
I can't recommend it, but again, you've paid for Netflix, and if you can't decide on anything, give it 5 minutes, and if the cameos make you laugh or you enjoy spotting all the cameos, it's entertaining. And I will say, like the clip we played last week, it does have jokes.
Okay, so it is funny on some level.
It is not funny, but it contains funny. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect
I use it all the time as an example, but the Walk Hard movie, the
Dewey Cox
one, the Johnny Cash spoof,
Yeah.
is an hour and a half movie with like 5 to 15 minutes of actual good comedy in it. And and in that same sense, this movie has, I think, a worthwhile amount of jokes in it to say, yeah, watch it, but I can't recommend a Pop-Tart movie with Jerry Seinfeld in it. Like, there's an unnecessary January 6th reference that I think honestly brings the tone down. You're like, why are you doing this? Why? Like, it's not funny. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know what world, like maybe the MSNBC crowd would laugh at it, but like, do whatever you want. It's a Pop-Tart movie. I can't be that critical. I've started watching a series on Netflix starring Jeff Daniels called A Man in Full. It's about a politician in Atlanta or outside of Atlanta. I think he might be in I'm kind of blanking, sorry. Fulton's the county, but I don't remember. But he is a public figure, and he's created like an empire, and all of his enemies are sort of circling around him and trying to tear him apart, and he's fighting back. He's not a likable character either. So you're like, he's clearly the protagonist, but you kind of hate him.
Like a business empire, a political empire? What kind of empire?
I've watched a few things since then, and I only watched the first couple episodes, and now I can't remember if he's a former politician or if he just owns a bunch of politicians. I can't remember. But he is maybe former politician, and here's one huge flaw in it. He played for Georgia Tech and he won the national championship. And Georgia Tech won the national championship in 1990, but he would have been in college in the early to mid 80s. And the only time they won it before that was like 1952. Now, here's the thing. Georgia Tech is in Georgia, clearly. Guess who won the national title in 1980? Georgia. You don't have to consult with like people that cost a lot of money. Like, you just ask me things like that. Like, I was off the top of my head. I was like, I know these two things. I know for a fact Georgia Tech has not been significant for a long time. Okay, we're not talking college football. I'm sorry, it's tempting. So there's times where this series, I kind of felt like I didn't want to commit to it. And then I saw it's a Tom Wolfe book. And when you look at the characters, there's a banker that's calling in his debt on the guy because he owes like $1 billion. He's Trumpian in many ways.
Okay.
But he's a Democrat in the show. The banker's a total dick. But when you think about it as a character in a book, it's good. But it's just I don't know. It's not translating to screen very well, in my opinion. That's my critique of it. Although I think you like good storytelling, and I think the storytelling in it is still good. I would recommend it. And again, you already paid for Netflix, so
yeah, might as well.
Yeah. Here's something I paid for. Last night, we were gonna go out, but we had the storm, so we're like, well, let's just stay home with the dogs, make sure our house doesn't get sucked off the ground, and let's watch a movie. So I bought because so here's the logic, right? We were gonna go out and spend a bunch of money on dinner. Let's watch a movie that'll cost us less to buy than 2 movie tickets. The movie's out in theaters right now, Ghostbusters 5. I bought Ghostbusters 5.
What'd you think? The trailers look pretty good to me. I haven't seen it.
It's fine. I would say like it's not bad, but I don't want them to make another.
Yeah,
movies should make you hope that there's more, right?
Yeah. So
it's fine. It stars kids you don't know, a wife you don't know, and Paul
Rudd.
Walker. Oh, Rudd. Oh, see, if it was Paul Walker, he could have been one of the ghosts. Gotcha.
Were you waiting this whole episode to drop that? Okay.
Yeah.
I
can
tell.
Note, I put starring Paul ...
Oh, I see that now.
Yeah. I didn't want to accidentally say the right name.
Right.
Yeah. Paul Rudd's good in it. He's fine in it. I don't know. It was fine. I didn't hate it. It was it's good in like Dan Aykroyd's in it. Peter Venkman, Bill Murray is in it. They brought back Ernie Hudson. What's his name in Ghostbusters?
I can't recall.
Ray, Egon, Peter, Winston. The actor Ernie Hudson. There's all those guys came back in it. I mean, they couldn't bring in Spengler because he's dead.
Sure.
Favorite Harold Ramis movie is Groundhog Day. But they didn't have Rick Moranis in it, but they had Janine, the secretary. Anyways, it's fine, and anything's better than the one with the all female cast. That was the time where you're like, wow, all these like anti-woke activists. You get that one.
We'll let you have this one. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it was fine. Let's get into a game. I'm very excited about playing with you.
Okay.
Just while we're on our media stuff, this won't be the question to end the show, but is the cast of Friends our Beatles?
Oh,
because they all went off to do their separate projects. And then just like the Beatles, one at a time, they've begun to die. Some tragically and too young. That makes Chandler or Matthew Perry our John Lennon.
Our Lennon, yeah.
He's our John Lennon. That's what we always say. Matthew Perry, our John Lennon.
Who's our George Harrison then?
Ross.
Yeah.
Man, nobody likes Ross.
He's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
He's gonna be 95 and stuff.
And Phoebe's our Ringo. Right?
Yes.
Shit. That turned out to be way better. When there's only one left and we're still doing memes, there's going to be a meme where it's just that one and it says friend in the logo with no S.
I can see it.
Are you excited about the game?
I am.
Did you see the name of the game?
No, I know it's not Wacky or Kakalaki.
It is, because Thrash didn't send anything, and none of you guys sent in games to Alan, so I got to come up with a game on my own.
Send me more games.
I came up with this one about 15 minutes before showtime. I'm very proud of this game. It is presidential. So it's first ladies or girlfriends of the presidents, because in old history there's been bachelors. Maybe he's just waiting for the right lady, Alan, or people where their wives died. Anyways, so we have presidential first ladies or girlfriends, or porn star names. So sorry, it's nicknames of presidential first ladies or girlfriends, or
so Lady Bird Johnson, for instance, would be.
Well, let's see. Is that So we'll take number 8 off of this list. Okay. So we'll only have
damn it.
10.
That would have been a point for me.
That's all right. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Lemonade Lucy. Porn star or first lady / girlfriend nickname? By the way, guys out there, feel free to call your girlfriend or wife or fiance any of these nicknames. See what they like it. Lemonade Lucy.
I'm gonna say not porn star.
Not a porn star? You're right. That's Lucy Hayes. So when Ulysses S. Grant left the White House, he stocked up the wine cellar, but it didn't matter because the Hayes administration was ran by abolitionist. Or no, that's not it. The temperance.
A teetotaler.
Teetotaler. There we go.
Sure.
Like Trump. The only exception she made was for Russian visitors in 1877. Like, all right, fine.
I mean, we can't have the Russians over with that.
They're gonna get unruly. You got it.
Right.
Yeah. I've got Sahara Sarah.
Sahara Sarah.
Yeah.
That sounds more porn star to me. I'm gonna go
Adult
porn star.
film actress. See, I thought so too. You're wrong. I thought so too, but then you think about it, you don't want to associate it with dryness, right?
Oh.
But they don't always think that through, right? I mean, it's a cool name. It catches on. Like Mia Khalifa might not have been like the most. Anyways, Sahara Sarah is not a Middle Eastern porn star. It is Sarah Polk. Sarah Polk. Before Lemonade Lucy, there was Sahara Sarah, a deeply religious woman. She didn't allow card playing. She didn't allow drinking or dancing at the White House. No dancing. So it's a real footloose situation under her.
Yeah, she sounds like a real barrel of monkeys. That one.
That's later on in the list. Barrel of monkeys, Alan. Is Barrel of Monkeys a presidential girlfriend or a porn star? Oh, it's porn star. You're wrong, Alan. It was porn star. Barrel of Monkeys. Don't Google that. That'll rule. Was it Rule 53? Rule 40? Rule 30?
47?
43. Rule 43.
Okay.
Now I don't remember. Agent 47. Agent 747. The guy killing all the Boeing people. Plastic Pat.
Plastic Pat. That can't be a porn. That's got to be.
That can't be a porn star. What about these big old gazungas, Alan?
Yeah, but they don't want to advertise Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a.
Oh, dude, these bimbos out here, Alan. They're proud of it. Look at these lips.
I'm gonna say that's a first lady.
Okay.
Am I right?
Look at these. You got it. 1 point for
nice.
Great job.
I was just gonna fly right over those lips.
You know who it is?
No.
Pat Nixon. A name you never remember, right? Nobody remembers Richard Nixon's first. You remember all of the other. You remember Barbara. You remember Lady Bird. You remember Nancy. You remember. Oh no! Climbing out the back of the car. My husband's head. What's her name?
Huh.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
Slipped my mind. Pat Nixon. Pat Nixon became Plastic Pat thanks to her husband's wrongdoing. She became famous for plastering on a smile on her face. In press
I get it.
conferences.
I get it.
Tricky Dick and Plastic Pat.
She later on starred in It's Pat.
It's Pat, Saturday Night Live fam. Yeah. Ooh, those weird sounds. Okay. Evita of Santa Barbara.
Evita of Santa Barbara. I thought she was from Argentina. I'm gonna say Evita. That's strange. I'll go porn star.
You'll go porn star. That is throat goat herself, Nancy.
Reagan. Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, I've got a bone to pick, so to speak, with the whole throat goat. So, what's the story about Nancy that I'm referring to?
Oh, she was the best giver of that special favor in the valley.
Special favor. Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the pictures of old Ronnie Reagan wearing gray sweatpants and there's like no bulge?
I haven't, but I'll take your word for it.
Perhaps the president bragged about how well she could, big quotes here, deep throat him. And he's just like, well, the whole thing. It's like, wow, Ron, the whole thing? Wow.
Turns out she actually did have a gag reflex. He just didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she earned this off of somebody bragging a little too much, right? Because the story got out there because someone was bragging, right?
Yeah, it had to. That's how that happens.
She would wear gaudy glamour. They called her in the article that I'm looking at, they called her a glamour puss, which sounds like a separate category.
That does sound, yes.
She would wear mink robes and stuff like that.
Okay, I can see
that. I got one more for you.
Okay.
Stephanie Clifford.
I think you can end the show on that one.
Oh, well, okay. All right. Well, we'll have a business idea while we're talking about presidents.
Okay.
All right. William Taft bathtub gin. Good night. Good night, everybody. See, the first one's lowbrow, and then we bring it up a bit.
Yeah, we
have fun in Washington, buddy.
Thanks, man. Cheers. That was fun.
Of course.